and away we go.
Hello, and thank you for joining me on another one of my tech series videos. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dimitri and I'm an American expat living in the Philippines. I always had a lot of passion for technology, and here I'm going to share some of that with you. If you find this video entertaining and informative, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. And now, please sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode about my immersion into tech as the time-lapse traveler.
Hello everyone and welcome to another video from the Time-Lapse Traveler. This time I'm reviewing the Evo Carb Mercury. It's a brand new scooter that came out just earlier this year. As you can see, it kind of stands out from most of the other scooters that I review. Also different from the typical scooter that you would see on the road. Because, I mean, just look at it. It's got a futuristic, really cool design. It has a 600 watt motor from a single hub here in the back. It's got front and rear Dualtron suspension. It's got two very powerful brakes. If you look at the braking system over here, you can see that the discs are particularly wide. So the stopping power on this model is really good. These are 8.5-inch solid tires, wide version. The maximum load for the scooter is 120 kilograms. So even if you're on the heavier side, this scooter should be able to handle you just fine. The battery is a 15 amp hour battery, so it's going to give you very nice range of 40 to 45 kilometers, which is definitely very respectable. On paper, you would get about 50 kilometers maximum speed, considering that this is just one motor. Definitely heavier than my scooter by far, but it's not all that bad. The weight of the scooter itself is 26.5 kilograms, which makes it still fairly portable. It's got an IPX4 rating, so it's splash proof, and should be pretty safe to ride around in the rain. The LCD screen over here has a very unique design. It's not the typical one that you would see on a lot of other scooters, no matter what the manufacturer is. They pretty much seem to be using the same third-party design. This one comes built in. That's the cool part about it. Of course, as you know, I'm always going to tell you guys the good and the bad for every model that I review. What is not so good, however, as cool as this LCD looks, there's just no way to see it clearly. You could cycle through different functions, like seeing the distance traveled and a few other modes. Right now, I'm looking at it up close, and you know what? It's actually kind of hard to read. I'm standing in the shade, and it looks pretty dim. Let's see if the camera can pick it up at all. Yeah, that's one of the downsides of this scooter. Now, because this is not one of the more popular models out there, there are not so many different mods that are available for it, at least not as of yet, because it just came out recently. So, for example, you cannot get a seat attached to it, and there are no handlebar replacements for it just yet, but maybe something is going to be figured out later in the future. What is available right now, though, is that you can get a strip of light here, which is probably the reason why the charge port is here up on top and not on the bottom like it would be on most models. The company that manufactures it is called Unicool, located in China, of course, but that goes for every other scooter company out there. The scooter can be purchased on the seller's Facebook page, on the Carb-Evo Customs and iScooter ITPB site. Now, the price for the scooter has an introductory price of 31,990 pesos, since it's a brand new model type. But the original price is actually 34,990. So if you make a purchase now or anytime soon as of this video, then you'll be able to save 3,000 pesos. Definitely not a bad deal. Now, one thing that I really wanted to focus on also over here is this rear fender mod that was actually installed by the seller, and that's definitely cool. It's got a really awesome carbon fiber finish, but it's not a sticker or vinyl or anything like that. It's actually painted on using a special process right on top of the metal. So this paint job is going to stay here for a really solid long time. There are going to be links for where you can buy it down below in the description. And I strongly recommend that you reach out to the seller to find out if you can get this mod for yourself as well, because it looks really cool. The stem here folds down pretty easily. The design is a little different from some of the other models that you might have seen out there. So there's this one clip over here, but then you have to actually raise it up before you can fold it down. And then once you do that, this flap right here is what you'd use to hold the stem in place, and then you could just, carry it around. Like I said, it isn't a heavy side, but definitely still very portable. The handlebars on here, unfortunately, they're not foldable, so it's not a perfect design, but it's not so bad because it's not very wide, so it's still pretty easy to get around. And then you lock it back down, just like so. Now, unfortunately, what ends up happening is that once you slide this up and down, it's going to leave a little bit of a residue, but something that you can't wipe off very easily, so it's not really an issue. The platform here is very uniquely designed, and it's got a rubber grip, so your feet are not going to be sliding all over. That's definitely a plus. One thing that I'm not too crazy about though is that the charge port is located on top. Prong port that you would get on a lot of other scooter models. Normally it'll be kind of better if it was here on the bottom. I guess the reason why they left the bottom clear over here is because you can actually mod this to have a strip of light. It's just a sleek, futuristic model. There are no cables on the outside except for the cable going to the brake and from the battery to the stem. But definitely no loose cables here like you see on a lot of other models. These tires are very wide, so it's going to give you a very different kind of control and handling while you're riding it on the road. It's absolutely puncture proof and they're very tough. You're going to be able to essentially keep these tires plus forever. It will take a long time to wear them out. The bad thing, of course, is that they're a lot more bumpy. Now the suspension here is going to definitely dampen a lot of the bumps in the front and in the back, like I mentioned, but there's only so much that can do because solid tires, yeah, it's going to give you a bumpier ride. Riding it around, even on relatively decent city streets, you're definitely going to be feeling those bumps. Now me personally, I'm kind of used to not having much suspension because my own scooter, the Xiaomi M365, doesn't have any of its own suspension, and I replaced the tires with solid tires. However, my tires have little cutout holes all around the perimeter, which dampens a lot of the shock. This doesn't have it. So for people who are used to having a smooth ride, this might not be the best model out there, but if you're okay relying on just the suspension, this is going to give you a smooth enough ride to get you around in a reasonable enough comfort. Now, because the tires are so wide, it's going to give you a really good road warrior-like feeling when you're riding it on the road. The control here is very decent when you're actually moving, but it feels a lot more stiff when you're just moving it by hand like that and you're turning it from side to side. But steering is very smooth, so at least there's that. It's not wobbly or shaky at all. Like if you just hold it very lightly, the steering is going to remain very, very steady. Definitely no wobbling around happening here at all. And that to me is a big plus. So now that you got a small introduction into what the scooter is about, let's take on the road, shall we? There's just so many places over here in BGC that has this gorgeous artwork. It's kind of difficult to find any one place that's best to make a video in. Maybe one of these days I'm going to make a video dedicated to just the artwork here in this neighborhood. Making tight turns on the scooter is a bit tricky because the wheels are so wide that it's not quite as maneuverable. Very smooth acceleration here, it's not jerky at all. It's one of the things that I like about this model. Now I'm trying to hit the maximum speed here. Right now I'm at what, 48? 40, I can't really seem to break 47, 48 kilometers an hour. The battery is fully charged and the terrain is pretty flat. I really should be hitting the maximum speed. Although, so far I was able to hit 48 kilometers an hour maximum. It's not hitting 50. Can't really go past that just yet. Typically I never go anywhere without a backpack. And I normally would hang it up in the front of the handlebars, which is not very ideal. So being able to hang it here on this hook is a nice touch. I like the design of that. Alright, now let's do the real acceleration test. There are 3 modes for the scooter: economy mode, drive mode, and sport mode. The screen is so dim, it's kind of hard to see whether or not I'm actually in what mode. Alright, 3, 2, 1, go! When you're in eco mode, it starts up really slow, and boom! That's 14 kilometers an hour. Doesn't take long, but 14 kilometers an hour is not that impressive. Now let's go into the regular drive mode. 3, 2, 1, go. Definitely way better pickup. Boom, 28 kilometers an hour seems like the maximum speed. Not gonna get faster than that. All right, now we're gonna start the acceleration on super speed mode, or just a sport mode. All right, let's see. 3, 2, 1, go. Let's see if we can get to 50 kilometers an hour. Oh, with the sun, it's so hard to read the screen though. 47. 48. You know, even going downhill, I'm not able to go any faster. Okay, well that is definitely somewhat of a disappointment. Maybe we can get a second round of acceleration. I'll just give it one more shot. Come on, baby. Don't let me down. 3, 2, 1, go. At least in the shade, I can see the speedometer better. And 45, 46, 47. Whoa, did not expect that hump. Luckily, the suspension did the job, but it was definitely a nice bump, which I felt very thoroughly. Yeah, as much as some scooter designers like to rely on good, powerful suspension, having air-filled tires, really, there's nothing else like it. Okay, now I definitely felt some splash on my left foot from the front tire. Not a big fan of that, but it's alright. Yeah, the front fender is not really doing the best job, I guess. Oh, the training. Uh-oh. Damn. Looks like I'm gonna get to test out what it's like in the rain before we wrap this up. Not the kind of test I was hoping to make, so I'm not so lucky, but I guess you guys are gonna be in for a treat because this is going to be at least partially a rainy review.
Luckily, the rain stopped almost as quickly as it started, but it would soon come back later. This is the part where I really missed my lightweight Xiaomi scooter, since that weighs less than half of this one at just 12.5 kilograms. If I had to take it up and down the stairs like this on a regular basis, this Mercury scooter is about as heavy as I would be willing to deal with, and even then, that certainly wouldn't be for everyone. Here, I almost fell because of the wet, slippery metal surface. Even walking here in the light rain, I had to be careful though, so I really can't blame the scooter for that. But in any case, whoever chose to make this overpass surface out of these smooth and slippery sheets of metal definitely did not have the pedestrian's best interest in mind. The pavement was still wet from the rain, and despite that, the scooter felt really steady on it. I didn't want to try any advanced maneuvers on it because I knew that if I didn't come home in one piece, my wife would get really mad at me.
So, I guess there's going to be more or less conclusion over here. All things considered, if having solid, puncture-proof tires is important to you, it's a pretty good purchase. The design is very cool. I'm definitely a big fan of that. Being able to read the LCD clearly is not the most important thing at all times. My own Xiaomi scooter doesn't really have much of an LCD, just simply 4 dots for showing the power that it has. I personally don't care all that much about it. For some people it might be more important. It's definitely nice to know what kind of options are out there to choose from. It's got a smooth acceleration, stays really stable on the road. When you compare this to, let's say, the Titan 9 scooter that I reviewed a while ago, then this one is a lot better in the road. The Titan 9 feels more like an unwieldy tank compared to this one. This one is significantly more nimble, even when you're dealing with bumps. And the control is better. This one you don't really need to slow down so much on the turn, so that's definitely much better. That one, I would really feel kind of uncomfortable making any kind of turns on it. So when it comes to having a wide tire design, this is a pretty nice balance because going any wider, and I personally would really not recommend it so much. The width of this tire is still very decent, very reasonable. The stem here is not adjustable. There are times when I really wish that I can get a longer stem because I myself am 6'3", and although it's still fine for me, I feel like I still have to bend down a little bit more than I would like. Whoa, the rain is really picking up. Serious downpour now.
After reflecting on it further, I can't in good consciousness recommend this scooter, mainly because of the hard solid tires, and the stiff dual-tron suspension is kind of limited at smoothing out the ride experience. The overall power and performance is decent but not great, so if you take the great aesthetics aside, there are better options out there, such as the excellent Dark Knight series of scooters.
And so I really hope that you enjoyed this review of the Carb-Evo Mercury. If you did, then do please hit the like button. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Always take care of yourselves and each other, and of course, keep looking out for more videos coming at you from the Time-Lapse Traveler.